I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure to create the best everything in the world. And the reality is, your audience doesn't need the best everything in the world. Your doctor is not the best doctor in the world. Your mechanic that fixes your car is not the best mechanic in the world. But they do a perfectly good job for what you need. And they have exactly what it is that will help you, right? They're in your area. They do what you need them to do. So I'm not saying that we settle and we have low expectations, but understand that our audience hasn't seen every blog post in the world. They haven't watched every video in the world.
That's
They
true.
haven't watched even every video that we've made,
That's true.
right?
That's
So
true.
I think we put so much pressure on ourselves that we have to like beat out every other thing that's out there. We only have to be on par or better with the content that our audience is seeing. And I think when we compare ourselves, especially as small brands, if we're thinking, I've got to outmarket Coca-Cola, I've got to outmarket Apple, Microsoft, we can't do that. That's not how we win, right? We're not going to spend more than they do. We're not going to have a bigger creative team than they do. That's just not how we win. We just need to be the right solution for our audience. And that probably means we're doing something a little bit different than what those big guys are doing. It doesn't mean that it's less than, it's just different. I think we experienced this a lot when I was at the New York Times. We would often have smaller brands come and say, we want to partner with you. We're going to spend our whole year's budget to do something with the New York Times. And I would ask them, well, where's your audience? And like, well, we serve local customers in this small region. Why are you spending all of your budget on the New York Times? We're maybe going to reach 5 people in that town. You should, you need to work with your local newspaper. That's going to be the best option for you. Or you need to, sponsor the local, the local football team or something. Like you need a different approach to be the best for your audience. And so it's a lot of pressure to try to measure up to all these massive brands. But we're not them, and so we just need to find a way to do what we can with the resources that we have, and be the best that we can given the resources that we have.
So if I understand well, I'm very surprised. Congratulations to say no to a client. Wow.
Well, I think a lot of this comes back to your ethics and what drives you, right? If I know that I can't get success for that client, they're
Yeah,
not going to be happy. They're not going to renew.
for
They're
sure.
probably going to
That's
want
smart.
some
Yeah.
money back. So
Mm.
it's really all about, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm in a position where I can do that. We've all gone through times in business where we don't have the ability to say no. I can completely understand that. But yeah, I know what content is good for, and I know what content is not good for. And so I'm always trying to recommend for clients the best solution, even if that's not me.
Okay, so if I try to summarize, bottom line, start by the community, start by where your audience is, and don't try to do too much. Don't try to do too good. Just try to do what they want to hear. Would
Yeah,
that be
I
a good
think
summary?
I think it's to focus on how you can provide value for your audience. That's really the difference, because when you compare yourself to one of these big brands, they are doing what's best for their audience and where they are, right? So we need to focus on our audience. We can't do exactly what they do. We have a different product, a different audience, a different budget. And so it's really about being realistic and saying, what can I do for my audience that adds value, given whatever limitations you have, time, money, staff, equipment, whatever. It's not about not trying or not caring. It's more just saying, look, these are the resources I have. What's the best thing that I can create for my audience given this set of ingredients? What's the best recipe that I can make given the ingredients that are in front of me? It probably won't be a 3-star Michelin meal, but it's probably going to be pretty good. It'll still be tasty. My audience will still love it. So it's really just examining those ingredients and making the best thing that you can with what you have.
Okay. Thank you so much for this precision, because I agree with lots of things. It's funny to think that some company would come to the New York Times, whereas they were very local. I mean, I'm surprised, because at the end of the day, you would think that they might be focusing more on sales than on brand awareness, but apparently sometimes it's just a confusion, probably.
Well, a lot of it, I think, is a prestige thing too. It's the same reason that people want to have TV commercials on the Super Bowl, because you get to say, I had a Super Bowl commercial, right? Or the same
Yeah.
reason you want to sponsor the Olympics, because you get to say, I was at the Olympics. My brand is the Olympics, right? It's a prestige thing. And I think a lot of it does come from that pressure that we all feel that says, this is what successful advertising look like. And it's a, $100 million budget, and we don't
Mhm.
have that. So there's a drive to want to try to compete at that level. And that's natural. But I think so often, to your point, it's not the most strategic choice for you and for your goals and your audience.